One day an elderly man was walking through the park, and as he was walking along, he looked down and he saw a $50 bill. He got very excited. He picked up the $50 bill and he thought, wow, I'm going to make a commitment to myself, and every day I'm going to go walking through the park, and I'm going to go looking because there might be more money there on the ground. So every day he would go, and as time went on, he spent more and more time doing this, walking through the park, till it was almost like the whole day he would spend looking around for money on the ground. And he did this for 20 years, every single day. And after 20 years, he passed away. And I'll tell you that in that 20-year period of time, walking through the park every day, he missed 7,300 sunrises, 7,300 sunsets, 1,205 days of beautiful fall leaves. He was bent over looking for money, so he never saw a smile on a child's face. He never looked into the eyes or recognized that some of his neighbors were walking through the park at the same time. He never saw any of the beautiful birds that were up in the trees because he was bent over and looking down at the ground. You know how much he found in that 20 years? Money laying on the ground. He found $16.52. A lot of hair clips, bottle caps, and trash as well. But look at all that he missed out on. It wasn't necessarily what he found, it was what he missed. If only he had stood up straight, maybe his days in the park could have been even more productive. Maybe he would have had a new lease on life and not been so obsessed about finding money, but rather developed new relationships in which he realized he was very cared for and loved. If only he had stood up straight. That's what the gospel tells us to do today. Jesus says, "Stand erect and look up to the heavens for the Son of Man coming on the clouds. Do not be afraid." You see, this would have been written, the Gospel of Luke, around 85 or so. So it was a few years after the temple was destroyed. Many of the people were scared. They were waiting for the end to come, all of the apocalyptic nuances that go along with that. Because if their temple was destroyed, just think of what else could have been destroyed. Really, their whole life could have really ended, and they were just waiting for that day. And Jesus said, don't worry about that day. Stand up straight, be proud, be who you are. So as we start today a new liturgical year, as we start today reading more from the Gospel of Luke during this year C, it's a chance for us also to see this Advent season as a new beginning. Really, the word Advent means that there's an arrival or there is an appearance. For us as Catholic Christians, it's a chance for us to maybe look around and see things a little differently during this Advent season. Perhaps to not be afraid of who we are and what we are waiting for. Because when we celebrate Advent, we're waiting for the celebration of the birth of the Savior of the world. And it's a 4-week period of time. This year is a pretty long 4 weeks too, Christmas being later in the week. There's almost 4 full weeks of Advent. So that's the first thing we celebrate, but also we're waiting for that day when God is going to call us home, either individually or as an entire universe, that he calls all creation back to him. And we don't know when that's going to happen, but we also don't worry about it. We say, God, we place our trust in you, in the gift of your merciful love, in the gift of our relationship with you, and we don't worry about maybe what tomorrow might bring, because we know that we have been chosen by you, loved by you into existence. We are here for the beauty of his greater glory. And what he wants us to do here on earth is not be stooped over, being afraid, but rather he wants us to stand up straight, to look around, to have good posture in our faith. It really starts, especially in our current culture today, by being proud of who we are. My friends, we don't have to make any excuses about our faith. We don't have to make any excuses in the midst of a culture that seems to constantly want to kind of beat it down. I don't know if maybe at your Thanksgiving table, perhaps you had a discussion about religion. Really, at a family dinner table conversation, never be afraid of saying, guess what? I go to church. I'm proud of going to church. This is what I believe. There's no point in being beaten down by someone else feeling like, I have to make excuses because maybe I'm my only sibling in the family that goes to church. Well, maybe they live up north and they don't have a great parish like Annunciation to go to. So, maybe they left the church, and that's very sad, but you never know, they might come back. We don't know that. We don't have to be beaten down, though, or make excuses for our faith. As we get further into this season, it's really kind of a chance when we hear people say, happy holidays. I think this might be one of my big beefs this year is happy holidays. And no, it's Merry Christmas. That's who we are. That's what we believe. It's more than a holiday. Thanksgiving is a holiday. 4th of July is a holiday. Labor Day is a holiday. But Christmas is the birth of Jesus. Jesus, who was important to us, and we celebrate that. We shouldn't have to feel like, I don't want to offend somebody. I was kind of surprised. Even yesterday, I get tweets from Huffington Post. I can't believe I bother with them, to be honest with you, but I get them anyway. It's kind of to get a little chance of seeing what's really kind of going on in the world and whatnot. They actually used the word Christmas in a tweet. I couldn't believe it. And didn't say holiday or, celebrations of December or feast or whatever. They actually said Christmas. I said, wow, this is like kind of monumental because they are so liberal, I guess you would say, that, we just say whatever. But I couldn't believe it. I said, well, maybe there's hope here in the world. There is hope because we have a relationship with Christ. As you personally approach this Advent season, we've sent out to our homes a booklet. Hopefully you've received it at this point. If not, you'll get it in the next couple days. It's kind of a small booklet. It won't take up too much room on your kitchen counter. They're short paragraphs from Pope Francis, a little quote from the Pope, and then a little prayer to say of something personally. Maybe this Advent's a chance to say, we're going to do this as a family. Why don't we take the time in the evening to read it, just to say the prayer or read the quote from Pope Francis? Be committed to it. Hopefully you have dinner in the home and you're not flying through the drive-thru with hamburgers and hot dogs or whatever it might be, but you actually sit down at dinner and maybe read the quote or read the prayer or make a commitment personally to do it individually. Be proud again of the fact of who we are as Catholic Christians. We don't have to be bent over about our faith, but rather we can say, as I look forward to the celebration of Christ's birth this year, it's going to be something unique. It's going to be something special. It's great to have the traditions that we have in our family of putting up the tree and decorating and looking at each particular decoration. But you know what? Maybe this year is a chance to say, Lord, I want you to touch my heart. Lord, I want my heart to be touched with the gift of your love. Maybe with the gift of your courage this year. To be proud of who I am as a Catholic Christian. To know my faith and to know who called me into this faith. Again, who loved me into my existence. Maybe this is the year to say, Lord, I'm going to do less of the materialistic things and secular celebrations of Christmas and the holidays, and instead, I'm going to make this a spiritual journey and do the best that we can in order to make it a very special time. So my friends, we listen to the words of this gospel today. Stand up straight, stand erect, look up to the heavens and pray. Because if you're always looking down, you don't know what you're going to miss. Maybe what signs God is giving to you of his holy presence in your life today, here and now.